Swider-Man, he's getting all the attention now.
Ooh, I like that, Swider-Man. That might be Cole's new nickname.
Swider basket and a foul.
Eddie Casey.
Swider, answer back. Swider from deep, laces the three. Swider, and one, count the bucket.
Welcome back to the Swider Show, everyone. Week off in between our last episode and now, but we're excited to be back. Episode 61, Patty Casey just reminded me, and it kind of shocked me a little bit. These episodes are just flying by. Appreciate you guys for tuning in last week. We had a great interview with Noah that was from actually the year before. And sadly, I did not pick Noah Gray to win the Super Bowl, but shout out to my boy Noah Gray for winning the Super Bowl. Patty and Adam, welcome back.
Wait, how about before we move off Noah, how about him calling you out in the comments? I don't know how many listeners caught that.
So how about that, winning this actual Super Bowl and then going on the Swider Show Instagram and making sure he knows that I know that I didn't pick him.
That was like a big-time notch in the belt for us, though. That was like 16 hours after the Super Bowl. There's probably some confetti in his eyes. And he's going to our Instagram page and firing off a comment right at your chin.
Oh, 1,000%, man. I think it was a huge day for the Swider Show. Really, really, really happy that Noah Gray was able to see that post. Shout out Adam Lewis for making that post so readable and viewable for Noah Gray to see. And obviously, shout out to Noah, really hard worker, man of God, and super excited for him to win another Super Bowl.
Yeah, hasn't won since he was on the show.
Yeah, no, I'm a Purdy guy. I wanted to see Purdy get it done, but obviously the best team won.
Wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. No, you can't go against Mahomes. I've learned that. I've actually won money from not going against Mahomes, and I think it was just due to see Mahomes winning. Obviously, shout out to my boy Noah Gray.
Yeah, maybe we could wrap up with that. But where do we want to start? Do you want to start with the All-Star break? Do you want to give us like the behind-the-scenes look of what it is like to be a player at? I feel like a very polarizing All-Star break. We could talk about a lot of conversation, especially like these 3 days. There's no game, so I feel like people are just getting takes off, and a lot of the takes are about like fixing the All-Star weekend. But you have a little bit different experience. One being a player, and two, being in the next up game as they're calling it. So, what was your review of your first ever All-Star weekend?
Yeah, man, it was amazing. First of all, just an honor and just super blessed and thankful to be at All-Star Weekend. Not a lot of people can say that, right? Like, even if it's the G League All-Star Game, main All-Star Game, three-point contest, all those things. Just super blessed and thankful, first and foremost, to be at All-Star Weekend. Second off, I thought it was a well-run event. That's the first thing I'll say.
You're talking about the whole weekend or just the G League
stuff? The whole weekend in general. The G League stuff, the whole weekend in general.
Yeah.
I think the NBA does a great job of just making everyone feel at home, giving people access to certain things. If that's a barber, if that's a meal room, if that's just overall, just the experience of the weekend, making it really accessible for the player, like having security at the doors, all those things, right? So first off, shout out to the league for putting on a great weekend. When it comes to the actual All-Star events, it's so tough because these players don't want to get hurt. Like it's not the main thing of their season. They want to be there. They want to get elected to the All-Star game. But when it comes down to the actual like playing of the games or the dunk contests or the Steph and Sabrina thing, I think was a huge hit.
That was a big time success. I don't know how you replicate that going forward.
Yeah,
maybe we get Caitlin Clark in the mix in a couple of years, but that was actually a very different thing that was exciting, and I think both of them wanted to win really, really badly.
Yeah, so I think overall it was a good weekend. I think people tuned in. I also think when it comes to the All-Star game, when we have a society that's built around ring culture, and the only thing that matters is that win or you're not successful, you're not great, you're not this and that. I think until we get that ideology out of our heads, and until we get first take, not talking about it every single day,
right.
I think you're not going to see guys going really hard in the All-Star game, even if there is a limited chance for them to get hurt. It just is what it is, and they have a bigger picture in mind.
That is a good take. I haven't heard anyone say that because there is like a lot of hypocrisy to it. Where I don't know, like you're saying, a guy like Embiid, for example, he could have 70 points in a regular season game that actually does mean something, and most of the reaction is just like, whatever. This doesn't mean anything. I'll see. Like, let me see it in the playoffs. This is a game that legitimately means absolutely nothing. So if you're setting those expectations for regular season games, I feel like it's not. You're not allowed to then complain about it not being like the most competitive thing in the world.
No, I totally agree. And when it comes to All-Star Weekend, I think we just have to shift our focus away from the All-Star game and more towards like the honor of guys being there, and that's what the players are doing. Like I know it was really, really important for Bam to get elected to the All-Star game, and for him to be an All-Star starter, that was like a huge deal for him. And I think
he hadn't started before, right? He's made two, but this is his first start. Yeah,
this is his first start, and obviously it was because of the Embiid injury, but it's still an amazing.
It still counts, brother.
Oh, count it.
Yeah,
count it.
Put on the basketball ref.
Exactly. So shout out to my guy Bam. Jaime, I think he did his thing in the dunk contest. He didn't get a lot of love. When you jump over Shaq, like I think that should be given a little bit more love, no matter what.
Right.
I know the hand was there. I know this and that.
Still, he's like 7'2".
Yeah.
Like,
and I think the dunk contest overall, besides the Jaylen Brown stuff, like, well, shout out Jaylen Brown for putting on the Terrence Clark jersey. I thought that was awesome. But besides the Jaylen Brown dunks, I think besides that, I think the guys kind of put
it was
on
solid.
a show.
Yeah. I mean, there's been way worse ones in the past. In the past.
100%.
Wait, as a G League
100%.
guy, what do you think about people complaining that a G League guy is winning the NBA All-Star dunk contest?
Well, I think in our country, right, like we always say, like, oh, the rich gets richer. And that's like a big, like, I'm not trying to get political here. I'm just saying, like, these guys make so much money.
No, I'm kidding.
These guys make so much money. Why would they ever want, like what's the extra $100K to them, this and that?
Right.
Well, Mac McClung doesn't make that much money. To the relative human being, he makes a lot of money. But relative to Jaylen Brown and some of these other guys,
the guys that are turning it down,
the guys that are turning it down, he makes little money to them. Like, he's not even on an NBA contract right now. Mm-hmm. So that $100K, that $175K or whatever he won, that's a big deal. That's a huge deal. That's not life-changing money, but it helps a lot.
No, listen, I'm in a similar spot as him now. That would change my life overnight. I know what you're getting at.
So we go back to this hypocrisy thing. It's like you're just finding things to complain about.
Right.
Mac is kind of lame. Mac has a platform. Mac has played 2 years in the NBA. Like, he has things in his arsenal that make him an unbelievable dunker, and he puts on a show, and he looks like the average guy. Mm-hmm. Like, he's a 6 foot white guy. Right. 5'11" white. No offense, Patty, to the 5'11" white guys out there.
Oh, I'm 6'1". I didn't take any offense to that.
But yeah, no, I hate that. I hate that talk.
Yeah, they're just. He's also doing stuff you've never seen before, which is insanely hard to do in a dunk contest now. Like, the dunks, I guess you could probably draw parallels, but like you're saying, there's never been a 6 foot white guy in the dunk contest doing that shit. So, like, it's exciting. It's new. I don't know what the alternative would be either.
No, for sure. And I don't know if you got a chance to see the G League dunk contest highlights. That was legit.
Yeah, it was actually good. Who won? I just saw the highlights of it.
Jay Jackson, I'm pretty sure he plays on the Maine Celtics.
Yeah.
And then Tavion Kinsey put on a freaking show as well.
A freaking show. We could curse here. It's all right. It's your show, brother.
A freaking show. Put on a freaking show. My grandparents listen to this. I'm not trying to swear.
Yeah, that is true. I do have family that listens to this. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Wait, speaking of the G League stuff, can you explain the format of the game? Because it was different. And like we're saying, there's a lot of people throwing around fixes for the All-Star game. And it seems like this is one of those things that we've talked about on this show before, where they try things out in the G League. I bet they're like kind of workshopping this format to be like, oh, maybe if we should actually do this in the actual All-Star game. But
yeah, Yeah, well, I know last year they played a full 48-minute G League All-Star game, and it kind of got like a little, like just it wasn't very competitive.
Bad hoops. Yeah.
It kind of looked like the All-Star game this year.
Right.
It wasn't very competitive. It was a long game. I think guys like I said weren't trying to get hurt. Imagine you get hurt, and that limits the opportunity for you to get a call up for the second half of the season.
That adds an even like more screwed up element to the G League game. Where it's impacting if you can get called up.
Yeah, so this year they took on the Rising Stars model of a 4-team tournament game. 4 teams of 7 players. We had I think 8 G League Ignite players, 10 players who were voted in, and then 10 players who were selected by the coaches.
By the coaches, yeah.
So 28 players overall, and I think it was a well-ran event. But the games were to 30. Both in both semifinals and finals. So we played a game against Alondis. It was Team Earn Your Leisure versus Team Strictly. I was on Team Strictly.
Is that Strictly Buckets? Was that what they're getting at there?
No, it was Strictly Basketball is an Instagram page, and those are the GMs of our team.
Got you.
So
all right.
people run the page. So overall. It was just a quick game, and I think guys were trying to find their rhythm. If you missed a couple shots, it really came back to bite you because it was only a game of 30.
You gotta go like 4 for 5 in order to make a big impact.
Exactly, and I wasn't able to do that. Missed a couple shots to win the game, but it's the life of a shooter. It's life of a shooter.
We gotta post the clips of those because the first one is a hilarious shot. Like you've hit that shot in the G League this year, but. I don't know how to sort of paint the picture. This is bad audio, but you're going, dribble handoff, right wing, and you shot like a complete fadeaway, like falling out of bounds. Almost went in. And then the next possession, you had a, like that ball went more in and out than any ball you'll ever see on a basketball court. Like it was literally 75% in the hoop and then just popped out. You guys ended up losing.
I was very surprised.
Did you get fouled on that too?
I did get fouled, but my thing was like, all right, like I don't really mind that I got fouled because I don't want to be that guy who gets fouled for the last hits 3 free throws. Like I don't want the refs to do that. I want the refs to let us decide the game. And then the next possession down, Trevor McQueen gets a foul call. Yeah. So it is what it is.
Are you saying you didn't want to go to the line because you were afraid you were going to miss them, or you don't want the game ending like that?
I was saying as a player, I wouldn't want the game to end on a foul call.
With you missing the free throws and being humiliated, that's where you're getting at.
Pat, you've been around me when I've made game-winning free throws, so.
That is true.
I think you.
That is true. That's a good reply.
I think you know me, but I think I was thinking like, oh, the refs aren't gonna like blow the whistle when it comes.
Yeah, they're not gonna.
And then
put matters into their own hands and decide the game.
Yeah, and then of course the next possession down, but. It's all good. It's an all-star game. Don't take it too seriously.
That's how it goes, really.
You're not getting an NBA contract off of a G League All-Star game.
Yeah,
but
last thing on All-Star Weekend, did you fly into the Indy airport?
I did.
Was there a basketball court? Did you get eyes on it?
It was a basketball court.
Where was it? Like in terms of, was it in a terminal? Like, is it as soon as you walk in where you're like getting your bags checked? Where was it actually?
So as soon as you walk through,
like security.
Right. No. So as soon as you walk through, like in the Indy airport, they have like restaurants in like a big circle, and then the court was in the middle of that. So it wasn't in the gates. It was It was as soon as you walked out of the gates. There's only 2 gates in the Indy airport, which is actually crazy.
Is that right?
It's just A and B, just gate A and gate B.
So it's a small airport, but they still managed to get a full hoop, 94 feet in there.
Yeah, they did, and it was impressive. Yeah, no, it looked pretty cool. But I think people were like a little disappointed, like when they actually got real eyes on it.
Is there like balls there? Are there people shooting around, or is it just there for show?
No balls, and then there was. It was just there for show, and then there was like lids on the rims.
There's lids on the rims, but nobody's like eating on the court. Like there's not food court tables.
The food court was around it though. The food court was around it.
I feel like we were sold a lie then. I thought it was either going to be like a full like people are playing pickup on it, or like they're just treating it as if it's the food court and you could eat on the court. You know what I mean? Like there's tables, there's chairs, and whatnot. I don't know. It's just gonna be like this hollowed ground where you can't even step foot on.
People were walking through it, but it wasn't like there was
That's hilarious.
Bodies on there.
That was a good Twitter day. There's a lot of memes, but
Yeah.
anything else from All-Star Weekend you want to wrap up?
No, like I said, shout out to the four Miami Heat guys. Alondes Williams winning the G League championship. Bam Adebayo for being an All-Star starter. Jaime for being in the dunk contest and Rising Stars game. So I think it was a good showing for the Miami Heat.
Yeah, there's a lot of presence. Speaking of which, you're we just talked about this before the show, but so after All-Star break, you don't just fly and meet the team in New Orleans, right? You go back, you practice a couple days, and then you dip out.
Yeah, so after All-Star Weekend, I flew back to that Sunday night with my parents. Had to spend 46 hours at home, and then end up flying out Tuesday night, and now I'm in Miami, and it is Wednesday, February 21st when we're recording this episode. So, got in a good day of player development today, and yeah, practice tomorrow. Fly out to New Orleans on. It's going to be Thursday when we're flying out to New Orleans. And as you guys are probably listening to this episode, we'll be flying to New Orleans. So,
Hell yeah.
And then game on Friday.
There'll probably be some of your teammates listening, correct?
Yeah,
on
man.
the same plane? Jimmy Butler?
Duncan Robinson and Kevin Love maybe. Just tuning into the show.
Holding it down.
Yep.
What was I going to say? Oh, I don't even know if you don't even have to answer this. We could even potentially cut this. But if you want to answer it, you can. Is there a part of you, like, afterwards that you're like, damn, I kind of wish I was averaging, like, 13 a game instead of 24 so I could get, like, the weekend at home? Like, the human nature side of you?
Yeah. No. So there is an aspect of wanting to rest. But I think when thinking about it, it's like, man, like, I want to be in Indy. And I think I had that last year a little bit. It was like I was happy I got to go home and rest. Like I didn't play enough last year to get into the G League All-Star game because of my foot. But I was home and I was watching All-Star Weekend and I was watching Rising Stars game. I was like, man, I want to be there. You know what I mean? Like,
especially when it's your first one, like,
yeah,
it's definitely different. Like, you're fired up about it. Also, it's just,
for sure.
I don't know, it's an election of, but I always go back to, I think there was a Dirk quote, like, it was like his 14th year or some shit.
Yeah.
And he got, like, snubbed, and someone was like, are you mad about being snubbed from the All-Star game? He was like, no, dude, I'm going to Mexico for, like, 6 full days rather than 2. Like, I'm good.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I think a bunch of guys have that, like, oh, like, they talk that talk like they don't want to go, and then when they're not there, like, they're secretly like, man, I wish I was at
damn,
All-Star.
Like, I'm better than that guy. I'm having a better season than that guy. Like,
exactly.
You just start getting in your head about it. But, yeah, overall, I'm such a mark for All-Star Weekend. I absolutely love it and watch every single thing every year. So, I don't know. I think it's kind of lame to complain about. But where should we go next? We want to do some Cuse talk here. There's been a bunch of Cuse hoops action since we last spoke with the Boeheim brothers 2 weeks ago.
Let's do it, man. Let's get into the little Cuse talk. First off, I just want to shout out Adam Lewis for truly believing in the Syracuse Orange all year. Patty and I are obviously fans from far away. We watch. I'm not able to watch every game, but I'm pretty sure Patty's probably watched 95% of the games, 90% of the games. But I just want to shout out Adam Lewis for not giving up on this team. And when the naysayers were saying, don't go to the UNC game, there's no chance we win and everything, you stood strong. You stood strong. Let those naysayers know, like, no, we have a chance to win. And then we came out with a win, and then you partied like you believed in this team. So, Adam Lewis, I just want to say thank you first and foremost from the Swider Show first, and then from me personally.
I appreciate that. And there's not many of us left, you know. People will remember the 2013, 2014 teams, and then before that. Like, this is the best team in terms of wins we've had, I think, since 2017. It will be if we win the next couple. You would be surprised the number of people that literally straight up told me they weren't going to the game on Tuesday night during the day. Like, we were on campus 30 feet from the dome, and they're like, we're not going. And then the number of texts I got after the game when I was on my third drink at Fagan's was worth it.
Oh, hell yeah. What were you on, Miller Lights?
I was beer tour, so I was trying a couple different things. But
nice.
you got to go try it. Yeah, you got to try a couple
stuff.
different drinks.
That's good stuff.
It was.
Okay, so what? Can you give us a boots on the ground reaction?
Yeah.
To the, I guess the whole game, when you guys felt it was gonna happen, and then the court storming.
Sure, I'll try to make this quick, but it was Tuesday at 7 p.m. and I was in the dome at probably 6:15 because I had a class that ended right next to it.
Mm-hmm.
Any Syracuse listeners, I was in Falk, so there was no point in going home. I was already right next to the dome. So I went down and I watched like warm-ups from the floor, like right next to the court, and there was something different. People were excited, like the team, the manager. I know a couple of the managers. They like waved and they looked excited, and some of the players were like throwing down dunks. I was early enough that they weren't getting technicals for that, so it was good. The game gets going, and we hit halftime. And I have some friends there from not Syracuse that came and visited. And I was talking to them. I'm like, I actually think we have a chance in this game. Past years, we might not have that. Like you might be in the game and then you kind of just drop out last second, or with like 5 minutes left. And I was like, I don't think we're going to do that this time. So we move into the second half. People are starting to get really excited. JJ hits that 40-footer. And I turned to...
Yeah, that was hilarious.
I'm standing next to Jake Sheridan, another one of our producers, who's at work right now. He can't be on. And I'm standing right next to him. And I turn to him and I say, when people make shots like that, and he looks at me and he says, shut up, don't say the rest of that sentence. So I didn't say it. But the thought was...
though. If you're going to pull off an upset, you need some bullshit like that.
If there's always that one play. And this was, I can't remember, I think it was 6-5, 4 minutes left. And I swear to God, we are up 6, and with 1:29 left, and the student section starts pushing towards the court. You know how much time 1:29 in a close game is on ESPN? This is a Mike Waters tweet. There was 29 minutes of real life material between then and the end of the game. Obviously, we ended up winning the game, but these people were standing like all crowded next to the court for 25 minutes waiting for the game to end, and we thought it was a jinx too. So, I mean, it was a disaster. Then we stormed the court. It was awesome. I have a picture on the court. It's actually my phone background. If you're on YouTube, you can see right there. But it's pretty sick. And yeah, I was ready to go. And it was a top 3 night of college, I can confidently say, in 4 years, which is saying something.
That's a
nice
perfect diary.
That's exactly what I was looking for. My only other question is the court storming. Well, I guess 2 real quick. Are you guys lining up like where like the dance team and like people walk like below the bleachers, or are you just like against the guardrails waiting there to be let out like caged animals?
Yeah, there's no guardrails. It was a disaster.
So you guys go down. Like,
the way the dome is set up, it's the court, and then there's like 4 rows of courtside under the basket. Exactly. And then there's like the cheerleaders in like a giant open space, like probably 20 square feet of open space where the cheerleaders and band are. And the media is right behind them, kind of. And then the student section.
Yeah, so are you guys
these
where,
people
like,
are literally getting trampled. Like I saw people on the ground. With a minute left in the game. It wasn't like we were at a timeout and people were like it was nerve-wracking. Everyone pushes forward, and then there's those 2 kind of like entry points, like the left and right side of the court there where you can kind of go in, and people were right up against it. And then still with like 2 seconds left, people were already on the court. Like we definitely could have gotten a technical foul, but it was worth it. Like it's a good story. And everyone afterwards was like, I was actually wearing this sweatshirt too. This is great. I'm all prepared. And people on TV were like, I saw you because you were wearing like the little neon orange instead of like a Syracuse orange or white. And I was like, yeah, you have to be on TV. If this is going to be replayed for the next 6 years before we get another one, like I want to be on TV, and like I was there in that moment. So to all the people that stayed home,
how long do you stay on the court?
We went to Fagan's about 45 seconds afterwards. But
45 seconds?
No, we were
that's
quick.
That's gotta be exaggeration.
It was. It was
really
like 5 minutes.
Damn.
Honestly,
I always pictured court stormings being like you hang out for like 45 minutes. Stand on the court.
It was fun. I think there was a lot of it was a lot of people. We were not the first ones on, so we were I don't know if you saw the picture. I was right near the basket, so there was no point in just standing there in a giant crowd.
You were on the low block. You should have posted someone up.
With I don't know. I had fun.
You had 2 feet in paint.
That
was a great recap. Good shit,
Here's
Lewis. You're always very
one
good
more.
at that.
I have one more
go
thing
ahead.
to say.
No, we got
I think
all night,
that I left the dome afterwards and had to grab my backpack because I had come from class. I had put it in a locker at the Barnes Center, which is right next door, which is the gym. The number of people that I saw working out during a Syracuse UNC basketball game, 25 feet away, that I knew is unacceptable. So if you're listening to this podcast, you know who you are. I saw multiple friends working out, not even hitting it was leg day for them, and they were skipping the UNC game. It's ridiculous, unacceptable.
Wow.
That's all I've got.
You must really hate Syracuse basketball if you're doing legs over watching a top 10 team coming to the dome.
Skip like the rest of us. You don't need to work out that day. God damn, that was the most electric 5 minutes we've maybe ever had from A. Lou right there. Swider, you didn't watch the game, right? You weren't able to?
No, I wasn't able to, but I was getting updates on the bench at Milwaukee from one of my trainers, and me and Wayne Ellington before the game actually made a bet. It was a 2-1 bet. If Syracuse won, I got $200. If UNC won, I had to give him $100.
Yeah, that's good odds there.
Oh,
it was literally just roll the ball out and beat them. I think we deserve a victory lap for that win on the show because we've been saying all year that they have enough talent to beat someone like that, and it was literally just UNC didn't even choke or play bad or anything. We just played better than them. JJ and Judah were just the 2 best players in the court.
I also think it was Joe Girard beating UNC at UNC felt good for me, just to see that happen, and then us beating UNC at the Dome. Now I feel like we got our lick back.
Yeah, exactly. We deserve that
from the 2022
right.
loss at the Dean Dome. So shout out to Joe Girard, friend of the show. And also shout out to the Syracuse men's basketball team for taking down UNC at the Dome.
That was big time. But then a bit of a step back immediately after a loss to Georgia Tech.
We don't have to talk about that. I want to talk about the NC State win.
Yeah, the NC State win was last night. Chris Bell, one of the best halves you'll ever seen anyone play. A jaw-dropping half. He could not miss everything he shot. He could have kicked it in, but end up getting a dub, big dub. I feel like we win against NC State every single time.
6 wins in a row against NC State.
Is it only 6? I guess that would be going back, 4 years probably at least.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is about that arena either. I feel like the John Gillen game our year, people were just, it was an 88-84 game. I feel like it's always a very exciting ball game when you play at that. Who is it? The Carolina Hurricanes.
PNC Arena.
Yeah, but the Carolina Hurricanes play there. I think someone fact checked.
They do.
I had them look that up. Yeah.
They do.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
They do. Yeah.
But I don't know. That's a good venue, and obviously soft rims. But
great facility there. That was probably my second game. I went on a heater towards the end of the year at Syracuse. I think that was
January,
the second
February.
game of my heater. Yeah.
My NC State story is when we ran off for warm-ups.
Okay, keep going.
And Arthur Cortez, another walk-on, it was dead silent in the gym. And they were like, Cortez, are you the Make-A-Wish kid? And then they just kept doing that to the rest of the kids on the team. And I got it second. And it was quiet enough that there was 30 minutes left on the warm-up clock that they did each walk-on and the whole team would start laughing while we were warming up. So there's just one specific kid who was just crushing the entire student section and our team.
You know who they didn't say that game? Who they definitely would have pointed to number one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Laval skipped the game.
Chris Laval skipped the game.
Pursuing a graduate degree.
Yep. He skipped the game. Yo, man,
we don't have to go. We don't have to go.
I've been to so many different Syracuse basketball games, man.
He said he had to study. That's a fair response. You could skip games to study, but
like skipping games to go do leg day.
Yeah, that's probably just as bad if you're on the team.
Yeah.
I always forget about that. You guys love that, but who do we got next, Adam? You just said that before.
Notre Dame on Saturday.
Notre Dame. Oh, yeah, Boeheim Day. That should be an absolutely amazing game. If you're a Cuse fan, you didn't know that, and you were up in the air about going to the game, go to Boeheim Day, because there's, like, a lot to celebrate, obviously. And that's his first time. No, second time back, because he was back for the Dave Bink thing, but I feel like this is the first time where he's, like, and maybe the only time that he'll ever, like, accept any sort of, like, show or praise towards him outwardly.
Yeah, no, Boeheim doesn't really accept a lot of that stuff. So, shout out to Coach, man.
All right, quickly before we wrap up here, Copycat League this week. I don't even have a question. I feel like Caitlin Clark is something we've got to talk about on the pod. I don't know if we have before, but she is as polarizing like a figure in college basketball, especially as maybe like of our lifetime. I feel like whenever her name is brought up, people just freak out and start like. There's such definitive takes on either side. Chief amongst them being Jay Williams, which was pretty embarrassing. I don't know. I feel like he should have been like fined or something for that, or like taken off the show. But I don't know. What's your take on her? What's your take on the rhetoric around it?
First off, I think Caitlin Clark is generational.
You think she's the GOAT?
I think she is the GOAT. And I think the argument that Jay Williams has, it doesn't make sense because those UConn teams were loaded, right? And she brought her team to a national championship. And I'm not saying that she doesn't have good players around her, but it's almost like the way she's able to play the game of basketball and get her team to win those games over teams that they shouldn't is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. So, like, the whole entire take that Jay Williams had, I just can't agree with that. Like, obviously, Breonna Stewart winning four national championships, like, that's unbelievable. And in her own right, that elevates her to GOAT status. But I also think, like, the reason why I consider, and I don't want to get into a Jordan LeBron thing, but the reason why I consider LeBron the GOAT is because he's been able to bring multiple teams to the finals that have no business being in the finals. Yeah. And I put that to Caitlin Clark. Not only is she a polarizing figure like a Steph, in terms of like the way she plays the game of women's basketball. Like, she's totally changing the game in that aspect. She's changing the ticket sales. She's changing the TV ratings. She's changing everything about that. But also, like, she's brought her team to a national championship. She's not being the first team out,
right?
Or going like 500.
It's not like a. I don't know. People used to have that take when people would go high in the draft, like Ben Simmons or Mo Keflowitz. It's like, oh well, they didn't win in college. This is not the scenario here. They're winning like 35 games a year.
Yeah, they're a top 10 ranked team the whole entire season.
The entire year, season. And they're winning a lot. I mean, they do have like some solid role players and stuff, but like
they have great players.
She's winning a lot of games essentially, not by herself, but she's dominating a basketball game like you'll never see a college person do. Like 49-13 in a 40-minute game is outrageous.
No,
But she's also reached the status of, it's kind of lame to like have this, but you've seen it with like even staying in women's basketball, UConn teams used to kind of get this. Alabama, when they were like, they're dominating their peers so much, it's like, oh, well, what would they do in the NFL? Caitlin Clark's reaching a lot of like, she's dominating women's basketball so much that it's like, I wonder how she'd be in men's college basketball. Like, where do you think she'd be if she like played in the ACC, like in men's college basketball? Which I feel like, as far as debate shows go and stuff, is like, all right, this person has actually reached a level that it's not even fun to talk about her playing against other people in her sport. Like, we got to do something harder.
It's like talking about like Steph playing against aliens at this point, or LeBron playing against aliens. Like, it's not.
Like, it's like, all right, this is sweet that she's destroying her peers, but like, what if we made it harder on her? Like, I don't know if that's the whole point of this conversation, but it is the ultimate respect.
For sure.
So, yeah, Jay Williams, loser. Caitlin Clark rules. Last thing before we close out, like we said before, you're in New Orleans. You're heading into the second half here. I don't really love calling it the second half because you guys have played like 65% of the season.
Yeah.
But what's the goal for the listeners? For you individually, for the Heat as a team, for the Skyforce as a team?
Yeah. No, I think for me personally, let's start there. To be able to contribute to some wins, right? Like to be able to go in the games. If I'm in the game, that probably means that there's a couple guys down, and I'm able to fill in those roles and contribute to some wins and continue this upward trends that I think that we're on as a team. We obviously had that 7-game losing streak, but since then we've won 6 out of our last 8. I think we're really starting to find ourselves as a team, and like as a team, obviously. With the Miami Heat, it's win a championship or bust. So
right,
continue that trend up. I think like the East is a lot closer than people really make it seem.
Definitely,
like we're right there. Like we can get to a 4 seed, a 5 seed, even a 6 seed. With the way the East is set up, I don't think anyone is. Obviously, the Celtics have far. Well, the Celtics have far and away been the best team all year. But besides that, I think 2 through 7. It's very, very even in terms of record-wise and who's playing each other. Obviously, the Cavs have been really, really hot lately, but they've also gone through their struggles early in the year as well. So, and then for the Skyforce, I mean, we're number one in the G League right now in terms of record.
What is the actual official record?
15-5 for the regular season.
Because you started 9-0.
Yeah, we started 9-0. Yep.
Yeah.
6-5 in our last 5, but I think that's it's championship or bust for the Skyforce too.
Love it.
As much as Heat culture as I can be, I think both teams have a chance to win. Also, shout out to Justice Champagne for getting the 10-day with the Washington Wizards, and we can delete this if it hasn't came out by now. But shout out to our boy. Buddy fucking Boeheim.
Yes, hell yeah.
For getting a 2-way with the Detroit Pistons. Buddy, you're the man. You've been killing it all year. You've improved each step of the season. So shout out to you, my boy, for getting it done and finding a way to grind it out.
Long overdue. Well deserved.
Long overdue for sure.
I thought he was going to have 17 threes in a game for it to happen at this point.
I know, seriously.
But I wouldn't be surprised if he did it, so... yeah, congrats, bud. We could send him this clip because I don't know if he's putting it in his earphones voluntarily, but he'll be back on the show soon to discuss how it all went down. Probably very soon.
Another correspondent just coming on the show.
Yeah, exactly. But all right, we got anything else? I might try a little teaser here, a little bit for the listeners, if you don't mind, Swider. I thought of this today. So, normally I would just ask you this question, but I would like you to put some thought into it. I would like Adam to put some thought into it. And for next episode, we can allow the listeners to put some thought into it. So if you hear this and you think of an answer and you have our contact information, or if you don't, follow us on social media at Swider Show on Twitter and Instagram. If you got a take, DM us, comment on the post. I was thinking this today, right? When you're watching basketball, in 2010, it looks like a totally different sport. There's been an absolute revolution since then. A lot of it's Daryl Morey, a lot of it's Steph, but it's an unrecognizable sport. You know what I mean?
Wow, what a shout out for Daryl Morey right there.
Well, he's
no,
I'm saying Daryl Morey / in the Billy Bean role. So
that's just unbelievable.
Part of my question is, who do you think is the Daryl Morey of 2024? Who's watching basketball? Do you think there's something that is happening that no one's realized in basketball right now that's hiding in plain sight? Where it's so I guess it's two parts of a question. What do you think is the next revolution of basketball? And what do you think it's going to be? You know what I mean? Because right now it's where can we go from here? Every team shoots 53s. Everyone could dribble, pass, shoot. Whoever's in a game is skilled. What else can we do? Chances are in 15 years, we're going to be damn, how did we not know in 2024 that we should be playing this way? I don't know what it is. I have no idea.
I have two answers for you.
Well,
I think
we'll save them for next week. Well, yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can save it for next week.
Yeah, a nice little teaser. You guys think?
Yeah.
And hit us up with your responses. But part of this is because if I think of it, like if someone gives me a good take on the comments, I'm stealing it and trying to get a job in the NBA. And then I'm going to become the next Daryl Morey. That's why I shouted out Daryl Morey.
Shout out Daryl Morey.
But, all right. Let us know next week. Or no, let us know in the time being, and then we could chat about the best answers in the next week. But, Swider, anything else? Do you have a question?
No, that's it.
An existential question to ask?
Oh, that's it. That's it. Shout out to you guys for listening to this episode. Shout out to Syracuse for getting that win last night against UNC. And yeah, let's have ourselves a good second half of the season.
Hell yeah. Go on.
I'm reckless, I'm dumb, according to you, but you don't know shit, huh? You don't know how I move. I'm rolling, I'm smoking the dope. I ain't telling lies, baby, you know that I'm the truth.